breaking people down in the cage like a crab leg at Red Lobster. This guy's unbelievable. I mean, when you have Khamzat Chimaev here, you know what you're getting, and this guy is just intense. And I think the intensity is what you then see instilled in everybody else in the camp. So the one thing that I love seeing is as Khamzat's intensity rises, the rest of the camp's intensity rises, because you never know, Real Hunter might get a fight.
Yeah, then you get all the grappling power. You shave the mustache.
It's strong, dude.
Gotta go into the way, dude.
Leave me alone!
That's a verbal tap.
Group of people that Khamzat brought with him are a bunch of strong, young, dedicated guys, and you can tell that they have a vision. So.
The sounds of impact echoed through the gym like a series of car crashes. Khamzat Chimaev wasn't just sparring his partners, he was dismantling them like crab legs at a high-end seafood buffet. This isn't your typical training session where teammates help each other get through a rough afternoon. This is a sanctioned war zone where the weak are weeded out and the strong are pushed to the absolute brink of physical collapse. One sparring partner learned the hard way that there are no light rounds when you are in the cage with the man they call Borz. The intensity in the room was so thick you could practically taste the copper in the air as bodies hit the canvas repeatedly under the weight of a truly terrifying pressure.
And to be a part of, because it makes me feel like, yeah, this is what we do. Like, we're fighters. We can do whatever we need to do at any given time.
Khalil Roundtree stood on the sidelines watching the carnage unfold, and even for a seasoned UFC veteran, the sight was jarring. He described the atmosphere as a literal war, noting that the intensity doesn't just stay with Khamzat, it infects everyone in the room. When the lead hunter is that aggressive, the rest of the pack has no choice but to sharpen their teeth or get left behind. Khalil mentioned that these guys are going at it 2 times a day, minimum, and they aren't just going through the motions. They are knocking the absolute trash out of each other in every single session. It is a unique, tight-knit group of warriors who seem more interested in total domination than just winning a decision.
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably got to be one of the most unique things you've ever been a part of.
Really unique, really cool, tight-knit, like just all these guys get to work. 2 times a day minimum. Just helping each other grow to become champions and push each other to the limits. It's incredible to be a part
What
of.
does the training look like, though? I mean, is it's super intense, and like when you spar, does it get a little out of hand? Or
I mean, with these two guys right here,
I'm looking at them, and they're Chechens, and Khamzat's a madman, and I'm like, are you guys knocking the shit out of each other in sparring?
The answer is yes.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm watching them go to war every day. He's trying to be polite because he's new to the crew. I'm full
He doesn't want to talk shit.
So I'm telling you right now, warriors, dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, right here, 20 years old, 5-0, undefeated, just a complete monster. And to be honest, this guy doesn't talk good about anybody. Luke Rockhold came back from Killcliff and said, yo, there's this guy in Khamzat's crew. He's Chechnyan. Hamza is his first name, and they call him the Wolverine. Because
inside that room, there is a 20-year-old monster that even the most experienced fighters are starting to whisper about. They call him the Wolverine, an undefeated Chechen fighter who Khamzat brought along to push the pace. This kid is 5-0, but according to people like Luke Rockhold, he is already a complete nightmare to deal with. Khamzat is intentionally surrounding himself with these young, hungry lions who have no respect for reputation and only care about the grind. It creates an ecosystem where you can never relax, because if you take a second to breathe, the Wolverine or the real hunter is going to be on your back looking for a finish. It is a system built on constant suffocating work.
It's very easy. Teamwork, it's very good, you know?
Yeah.
With Khamzat, you want to train more harder.
Got it.
Yeah,
because he's pushing you.
Yeah.
So he's like the team captain right now, and he's trying to build this team.
This isn't some random collection of training sessions thrown together at the last minute for a big fight. This is a structured, high-pressure machine designed to break the will of anyone who steps inside the octagon. Khalil Roundtree explained that they do wrestling, grappling, and sparring, then they come back later in the evening and do the entire brutal cycle all over again. There are no shortcuts, and there is zero interest in looking good for the cameras. The goal is simple: find the limit of human endurance and then move past it. When you see how they train behind closed doors, you finally start to understand why Khamzat looks like a force of nature when the lights are bright and the cage door finally closes.
Go in that cage. Is that your power? Is that your technique? What is it that allows you to do this to people?
Bro, just hard work. Just working hard. If they make mistakes here, they're gonna be bad for me there. But just be here every day to come in the gym. Some mornings you don't wanna come here, but if you come to the gym and still do your work, then you know you're gonna do good there. So just believe hard work. So some people say Khamzat is talented, he's that, he's born from Chechnya. It doesn't matter from where you are, but just you choose your choice. And
the philosophy behind this camp is as brutal as the execution itself. Khamzat believes that if you skip the discipline in the gym, it will show up as a glaring weakness during the fight. He makes it a point to show up on the mornings when he doesn't want to be there, proving to his team that hard work is the only thing that actually matters. Some people say he was born with this talent, but he shuts that talk down immediately. He believes it is a choice to be this dominant. You choose to get up, you choose to take the extra round, and you choose to smash your sparring partners until they have nothing left to give. It is a repetitive cycle of violence that has been honed over years of work.
Bringing up the next generation of fighters, we don't see a lot of people in your position do this. Why is it so important to help the real Hunter and Wolverine and Youssef to become world champs?
What should I do after? You know, I'm all my life being a fighter and training and being in this sport. So I want to help the younger guys I'm the first guy from my country to become a UFC champion. So now these young guys, they has very good talent and they has everything to become a UFC champion. So
when you hear the betting odds for the upcoming clash with Sean Strickland, the numbers are almost hard to believe. The gambling world has opened the lines at 6-1 in favor of Chimaev, a massive gap that implies a complete and total mismatch. To put that into perspective, those are the kinds of odds you see when an all-time great is fighting a massive underdog. Chael Sonnen pointed out that even when Islam Makhachev fought Charles Oliveira, the odds were only 3-1. A 6-1 line isn't just a prediction that someone will win, it is a statement of confidence that one man is going to walk through the other without facing a single moment of real danger or resistance.
The belt. That being said, Sean Strickland is one of the more, I guess you could say, popular, one of the more interesting, one of the more followed, whatever word you want to use, fighters in the UFC, and certainly at 185 pounds. And he has made a habit since winning that belt in 2023 of winning one, losing one, winning one, losing one, but he continues to get a title shot. He beats Israel Adesanya, wins the belt, loses the next one. That was to GDP. He beats Paulo Costa, gets another title shot, loses that one. He beats Fluffy Hernandez, now here's fighting for the belt again. It's a pretty damn good run. That's 3 title shots in the span of 2 years and change. And obviously this is a big one, and it's a very bitter rivalry, if you want to call it that. I mean, Sean Strickland throws a lot of shots at Khamzat, as does Khamzat. I would imagine Khamzat a lot more motivated going into this fight, considering the things that Sean has said about him and their history. And Dana White joked about the fact that they might need a little more security, and I don't think that's the worst idea in the world. I'm not upset that Sean is getting this shot. He does have a win over Imavov, and it was a short notice win for him, and he was moving up to...
Khamzat isn't just focused on his own career anymore. He is building a full-scale system of conquest. He is actively raising the next generation of Chechen fighters, ensuring that the legacy of his style continues long after he is gone. He wants to be the first to bring that UFC belt back, but he is making sure the guys behind him, like the Wolverine, have everything they need to follow in his footsteps. Most fighters at the top are selfish with their time and energy, but Chimaev is different. He is acting as the team captain, pushing every single person in the room to reach a championship level. It is a dangerous precedent to set when a world-class athlete starts building an entire army in his image.
I just wanted to get my thoughts out there. Khamzat, Sean, big fight for Khamzat. It's his first title defense. Sean getting another crack at the belt. Interesting style, unique style. Khamzat should be the favorite, and I don't suspect he has, a terribly difficult night, but Sean's a bit of a chameleon. Sometimes he looks like a world beater like he did against Fluffy or Izzy, and then sometimes he doesn't like he did, most recently against DDP. So let us see May 9th.
The discipline inside this camp is what separates it from the flashy gyms you see all over social media. There are no influencers here, just people looking to inflict damage. Khamzat explained that even when his body is screaming for him to stay in bed, he forces himself into the gym because he knows his opponents might be resting. This consistency is what allows him to maintain that blistering pace in the first round of his fights. He isn't turning the intensity on and off like a faucet. He is living in it every single day. If a sparring partner makes a mistake in the gym, Khamzat makes them pay for it immediately so they don't make that same mistake when the stakes are actually real.
So now all of a sudden we've got Chimaev versus Strickland. Did you guys see the odds? My partners right now, DraftKings, 6-1. 6-1 is what they are favoring Chimaev to beat Strickland. 2-1 when the fight opened, Chimaev versus Dricus. When that bell rang, they were 2-1. 6-1 is what Izzy Adesanya was favored the night he fought Sean Strickland. 3-1 is what Islam was the night that he beat Charles Oliveira, right? And if you remember that point in time, nobody believed that Islam wasn't walking out there with the belt. Nobody believed that Charles had what it took to stand up to Islam. And with that said, it got to 3-1. So 3-1 doesn't just represent a confidence. It's a confidence in a domination. 3-1 is essentially saying, our guy, our 3-1 favorite, is going to finish your guy. This is 6-1. This is 6-1 with common opponent.
Talent is a myth in Khamzat's world, and he is quick to remind everyone that he wasn't just born this way. He attributes his entire career to the fact that he works harder than anyone else is willing to work. He mentioned that it doesn't matter where you come from or what your background is. What matters is the choice you make when you walk through those gym doors. This mindset has filtered down to everyone in his crew. You can tell they have a shared vision of dominance. They aren't there to make friends or build a brand. They are there to become the most dangerous human beings on the planet through sheer, unadulterated volume of work and repetition.
That seems to be the big question when you're fighting Chimaev. Like, before we get into resumes, who's ranked, who should be there, when we come down to what's the guy that possesses the skill set where we can close our eyes and make believe that Chimaev could get beat, we have to first be able to convince ourselves that that guy possesses superior takedown defense to the excellent offense takedown abilities of Chimaev. I think Strickland's that guy. I think they found the right guy. 6-1 surprises me. I don't think Kyle Brawlo is going to have his panties in a bunch because he is 1-1 in his last two. I think he's going to understand I could have gone for a title shot, but they probably had me do something else. All right, great. That's where it landed. Imanov's in a different spot. Imanov deserves that title shot. And I realize the hypocrisy that sounds because I am pushing for Sean, but I'm pushing for Sean because Sean beat him head-to-head.
The betting world is reacting to more than just Khamzat's wrestling. They are reacting to the aura of invincibility he has built. When the odds for the Strickland fight hit 6-1, it sent shockwaves through the MMA community. Chael Sonnen noted that these odds are usually reserved for fights where the outcome feels like a foregone conclusion. Even though Sean Strickland is a former champion who has beaten some of the best names in the sport, the odds makers aren't giving him a ghost of a chance. It shows just how much respect the industry has for the training system Khamzat has established. They see him as a shark in a pool full of swimmers who are just trying to keep their heads above water.
It's a tough fight for Strickland, I'm not going to lie, but he is tough to take down. He's tough to hold down. He does have a ground game, and he's going to talk some shit. And I've heard there's a bunch of Chechens hunting Sean Strickland down in Las Vegas, and he's got to be careful. And I heard Sean like, hey, man, I've got guns. I got guns. You can come to my house, man. Here's the thing, guys. If they come to my house, I got the guns.
I'm almost certain Strickland's going to have a gun with him wherever he is in Vegas, and good luck.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's got.
Chael Sonnen points out that for a fight to be 6-1, you have to be able to close your eyes and fail to see any way the underdog wins. The big question in this matchup is whether Sean Strickland possesses a level of takedown defense that can actually nullify the offensive wrestling of Chimaev. If you can't stop the first shot, the fight is essentially over before it even begins. Chael thinks Strickland might be the right guy to test this theory, but the odds suggest otherwise. It is a psychological hurdle for any fighter to overcome when the entire world is telling them they are about to be finished in the very first round by a man who trains like a possessed demon. People forget that Sean Strickland is a bit of a chameleon in the cage. Sometimes he looks like a world beater who can outstrike anyone on the planet, as he did against Israel Adesanya. Other times, he struggles to find his rhythm and gets caught in the mud. This unpredictability is what makes the 6-1 odds so fascinating. If the version of Strickland that showed up against Izzy is the one that enters the cage, the fight might be much closer than people think. However, the pressure that Khamzat brings is unlike anything Sean has ever faced. It is a constant physical harassment that doesn't allow for the technical kickboxing matches that Strickland usually prefers. Sean Strickland is one of the most polarizing and followed fighters in the UFC, and his path to this title shot has been anything but conventional. He has a habit of winning one and losing one, yet he remains at the top of the mountain because of his personality and his willingness to fight anyone. Ariel Helwani noted that this is a very bitter rivalry, with both men taking shots at each other in the media. This adds a layer of emotional volatility to the fight that could work in either man's favor. Khamzat seems more motivated than ever because of the things Sean has said about his heritage and his lifestyle. When you add personal beef to an intense fight camp, things get dangerous. The rivalry between these two isn't just for the cameras. It stems from a genuine dislike that has been brewing for a long time. They have trained together in the past, and stories have leaked out about what happened behind those closed doors. Khamzat feels like he has a point to prove, and Sean isn't the type of guy to back down from a verbal or physical confrontation. This is a fight where emotions will play a massive role. If Khamzat lets his anger take over, he might gash out early. But if he uses that fire to fuel his wrestling, it could be a very short night for the American. The history between them makes every sparring session in this camp feel like it has life or death stakes. Michael Bisping has weighed in on the danger Sean faces, specifically regarding the people Khamzat surrounds himself with. There are rumors of Chechen fighters literally hunting Sean down in Las Vegas, creating a chaotic environment leading up to the fight. Strickland, being who he is, has responded by saying he's always armed and ready for whatever comes his way. This outside the cage drama only adds to the intensity of Khamzat's camp. His team isn't just a group of athletes. They are a loyal brotherhood that views every fight as a collective mission. When you fight Khamzat, you are essentially fighting his entire village and every undefeated killer he has brought with him. The tension in Vegas is real, and the narrative around this fight is starting to feel more like a movie than a sporting event. Strickland is leaning into his role as the brash American defender, while Khamzat is the unstoppable force coming from the mountains. Bisping pointed out that while Sean is incredibly tough to take down and even harder to keep down, he has never dealt with the specific type of chain wrestling that Chimaev employs. It isn't just one shot and a reset, it is a continuous flow of grappling that wears on the soul. If Sean can't find a way to make Khamzat respect his power early, he will be fighting from his back for 25 minutes straight. Can Sean actually survive the storm? That is the million-dollar question that every analyst is trying to answer. We have seen Khamzat fade slightly in later rounds during high-paced fights, but getting to those later rounds is the hardest part. The first 10 minutes against Chimaev are described by his former opponents as a literal nightmare where you feel like you are drowning on dry land. If Strickland can utilize his awkward defensive shell and survive the initial onslaught, the fight could get very interesting. But with the way Khamzat is smashing his partners in this camp, it doesn't look like he has any intention of letting this go past the first 5 minutes. The UFC's choice to put Strickland in this spot over someone like Nasruddin Imavov was a calculated move based on star power and history. Even though Imavov has a strong resume, the back and forth between Sean and Khamzat is what the fans actually want to see. James Lynch explained that the UFC looks at the bigger picture, and a rivalry with this much genuine heat is impossible to ignore. It puts a massive amount of pressure on Strickland to perform, especially given the lopsided odds. He is being framed as the sacrificial lamb, but we have seen him thrive in that role before. The problem this time is that the man across from him is training like he's preparing for the apocalypse. Don't let the wrestling talk fool you. Khamzat has genuine knockout power that can change the trajectory of a fight in a split second. He isn't just a grappler who hides behind his takedowns. He is a violent striker who is looking to put his shin through your head. His camp has focused heavily on blending these two worlds together. The sparring footage shows him landing heavy shots before transitioning seamlessly into a double leg. This hybrid style is what makes him so difficult to prepare for. You can't just train for wrestling, and you can't just train for boxing. You have to train for a man who is trying to do both to you at the highest possible velocity. Khamzat is playing the long game by mentoring fighters like the Wolverine. He recognizes that his career won't last forever, and he wants to ensure that his training methods become the gold standard for the region. By bringing up these young guys, he is effectively creating a conveyor belt of elite talent. This benefits him in the short term because these kids are young, fast, and have endless cardio, forcing him to keep his own levels high. It is a symbiotic relationship that has turned his fight camp into an elite academy of violence. Every time he smashes a sparring partner, he is teaching them what it takes to be at the top, and they are pushing him to stay there. It is easy to look at the 6-to-1 odds and assume the fight is over, but that would be a mistake when dealing with someone as resilient as Sean Strickland. Sean has built a career on being the guy who shouldn't win but somehow finds a way to get his hand raised. However, the sheer volume of work coming out of Khamzat's camp suggests that this time might be different. Chimaev isn't just preparing for a fight, he is preparing to make a statement. He wants to show the world that there is a massive gap between him and the rest of the middleweight division. The intensity of his training suggests he isn't looking for a close win, he is looking for a career-ending performance. The mental toll of facing someone who trains this way cannot be overstated. Knowing that your opponent has spent months going to war twice a day with undefeated monsters is enough to break most people before they even weigh in. Khamzat's system is designed to create a sense of inevitability. When the cage door shuts, he wants his opponent to feel that all the work they did was insufficient compared to the hell he went through in his own gym. It is a psychological game as much as a physical one. By the time the first round starts, Khamzat has already won the battle of wills in his own mind because of the sacrifices he made during the camp. Ultimately, this camp proves that Khamzat Chimaev is more than just a fighter. He is a man obsessed with the pursuit of perfection through suffering. He doesn't see the gym as a place of business, but as a place of transformation. Whether or not Sean Strickland can defy the 6-to-1 odds remains to be seen, but one thing is certain, he is walking into a buzzsaw that has been sharpened every single day without fail. The intensity, the discipline, and the sheer violence of this fight camp have set the stage for one of the most highly anticipated clashes in UFC history. When the dust settles, we will see if the system Khamzat built is truly as unbreakable as it looks.